The TARDIS arrives at Gatwick Airport in July 1966. A great many young people have vanished, including Ben and Polly. With the help of Samantha Briggs, the sister of one of the missing youths, the second Doctor and Jamie must uncover the plot of the Chameleons. Welcome, friends and companions. How are you today? Here is Enigmatic Joker, your host. Sci-Fi Fantasy fans and all sort of fans meet on this channel for fun chats about their beloved books, movies, series, and franchises. We also talk about food and drinks, music and sport, and a special place on this channel for Doctor Who, my most beloved sci-fi series of all time. I will watch this series till eternity. Dedicated. Dedicated Joker. This channel has multiple names, and regularly this channel and irregularly this channel regenerates. Most of the time, this channel is called Random Entertainment Channel. Random because we'll discuss everything that involves entertainment, including movies and series, books, and music. Random because we're broadcast on non-fixed times, actually many different times. That's also the case with the Doctor, who travels in his TARDIS through time and space, in past, present, and future. And the case is, this world has many time zones. And yeah, I want to meet you, so that's because I broadcast on many different times. So you need to subscribe to this channel to know what time the broadcast is. Random also because we have no guests or different guests. Depends on what you join me in a live stream or panel. If you want to join me in a live stream, feel to contact me via Discord. You can send me a message there, and or you can contact me via YouTube. You can put a comment on one of the videos, and we will look what is possible. By the way, you find many playlists on this channel about the personality of the Doctor, the different companions, and the different stories in the areas of the Doctors. So take a look. The Discord server is called Random Entertainment Channel. Tag Doctor Who on Discord and invite me very quick because I bump the server regularly. So cheers and have lots of fun. This is your host, Enigmatic, Joker, Mysterious, Shuffle, Random, Enigmatic. So, as usual, and today we have a second Doctor story. Yes, 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 Patrick Troughton. And this story is called The Faceless Ones. And as usual, we will do first some general info about this story. So let's go. So, The Faceless Ones was the eighth and penultimate serial of season 4 of Doctor Who. It saw the final regular appearances of Michael Crace as Ben Jackson and Anneke Wills as Polly Wright. Additionally, the original rendition of Delia Derbyshire's opening theme for the series was replaced with a new arrangement. Currently, only episodes 1 and 3 exist in the BBC archives. It was released on DVD, Blu-ray, and Steelbook on 16th of March 2020 and featured all 6 episodes reconstructed in animated format, alongside the surviving episodes 1 and 3. A Q&A event was held with Anneke Wills. So, 6 episodes contains this the story contains 6 episodes. I want to say 6. The 6 episodes contains the story. Okay, you know exactly what I mean. The story contains 6 episodes, parts, whatever. What do you want to call it? So actually, we dive into the plot now. This interesting story. Here we go. episode by episode. Episode 1. The TARDIS lands on a runway at Gatwick Airport, and the second Doctor, Ben, Polly, and Jamie run for their lives as a jet airplane tries to land on them. The jet avoids a collision by aborting its landing, whilst the four intruders are spotted by a police officer, causing them to split up. The airport's commandant is informed by an air traffic controller of the reason given by the jet's pilot, a police box on the runway. He incredulously orders the obstruction investigated. The police box is quickly hauled away on the back of a truck escorted by police motorcyclists. The officer pursuing Ben has lost him, and Jamie meets up with the doctor beneath a parked airplane. Polly, meanwhile, has hidden in the hangar for chameleon tours. She sees a man who is holding an envelope, killed by another man wearing a pilot's uniform with some futuristic weapon. The corpse is covered with a parachute whilst the pilot enters a hidden control chamber filled with high-tech equipment and reports via a monitor to another pilot by the name of Blade. An alarm sounds, and a monitor shows Polly examining the body. The man goes out to catch her, but she escapes. The commandant is flabbergasted to hear that the obstruction actually was a police box. Polly finds the doctor and Jamie hiding on an airplane. She tells them what she saw. The doctor insists she show them. Blade joins the other pilot, Spencer, in the hangar. Spencer explains he killed him as he knew about the postcards. They search the body and learn they have killed Detective Inspector Gascoigne, and Blade is concerned a parent may have sent him. They dispose of the man's effects and two suitcases. An alarm sounds, and they see the doctor, Jane, and Polly in the hangar searching for the body on a monitor. The doctor is surprised to find the man Polly said was killed by a gun has been electrocuted. The time travelers leave to find someone in charge. Spencer and Blade are concerned when Polly says she could recognize the killer anywhere. They decide that, despite the doctor's knowledge, it is Polly who poses the biggest threat. They intercept the doctor and his companions, and as Polly is lagging behind, Spencer knocks her unconscious using a pen-shaped device. Inside the hidden chamber, Polly is questioned to little effect. Polly warns the pilots her friend will worry about her. They say they must do something about that. When the doctor and Jamie cannot find her in the hangar, they resume their quest to help from the authorities. The doctor and Jamie arrive at the immigration and customs deck, but cannot get by the officer, Jenkins, as they haven't got passports. The officer is moved to action when Jamie mentions the TARDIS, suspecting they may be involved with the police box affair. Jenkins asks them to wait while he contacts the commandant. Meanwhile, Ben finds the chameleon hangar and is drawn inside by sounds of hammering. Captain Blade is securing a packing case. Before he can draw his weapon, Jean Rock, the commandant's assistant, arrives to give Blade's flight schedules. And Blade shows Ben the way out. The commandant is extremely dubious at the doctor's story and disturbed by their lack of passports. But eventually, he relents and follows the doctor and Jamie to the hangar to allow the doctor to prove his story. In the hangar's hidden chamber, Blade is affixing stamps to postcards. Spencer tells him that Polly has been processed and can be taken on the next flight. Blade opens a refrigerated cabinet. A scaly humanoid arm is seen. Injects the arm. The pilots are alerted to the presence of the doctor, Jamie, and the commandant in the hangar. The body is gone, but the doctor reveals an unused Spanish postage stamp, the only thing found on the body. Jamie and the doctor find burnt fibers and a burn mark. The doctor begins to make deductions regarding these, much to the bemusement of the commandant. The doctor suggests they search the hangar. They move to open a packing case as Blade emerges from the back. Blade opens the case, revealing plastic cups. The commandant, fed up now, takes the doctor and Jamie away. Spencer is ordered to bring the creature from the compartment. Blade and he help it out of the hangar, worrying about the fact that it may be reaching suffocation point. Back at Immigration and Customs, the doctor and Jamie are being cross-examined by the commandant. They spot Polly and draw her to the commandant's attention, but she claims not to know either of them. The two pilots guide the disguised creature through the airport concourse to the medical center. They arrive at the medical center and set him down on the bench. The creature has a misshapen head and is breathing heavily. End of episode 1. Episode 2. As the creature waits, Meadows, an air traffic controller, lies unconscious on a bed. At the INC at desk, the woman says she is Michelle Leupy from Zurich, before going on to explain that this is her first visit to England and she is here on a work permit. The doctor asks why she speaks such good English and is told that she had an English governess. She leaves as Jamie forlornly calls after her. As the commandant calls for the police, the doctor and Jamie make a dash for it. Nurse Pinto arrives. Armbands are attached to the creature and Meadows' headsets are attached. While eluding the police, the doctor spots an advertisement for chameleon tours, catering for people ages 18 to 25. Ben finds them and they go off. As the real Meadows twitches, the creature transforms into his duplicates. And at the medical center, they adjust the new Meadows' senses and test his self-knowledge. Ben spots the woman who looks like Polly working at the chameleon tours desk. The doctor tries to speak to her, but she denies everything. However, she mentions someone shot without prompting. The doctor and his friends leave. Michelle reports behind the kiosk to Blade. Blade orders her to leave on the next flight back to base and intends to deal with the doctor. The duplicate Meadows takes his place at air traffic control. Di Crossland has arrived and is investigating Chameleon as well as his missing colleague. Meanwhile, the doctor, Ben, and Jamie hide in a photo booth and decide Ben should investigate the hangar. Jamie will keep an eye on the kiosk and the doctor will see the commandant. As Jamie watches, Samantha Briggs arrives and interrogates Michelle about her brother Brian, supposedly in Rome on a chameleon tour. The hotel he's supposed to be staying at doesn't exist and he can't be found. Yet, they've received a postcard from him posted in Rome. Michelle says she'll make inquiries and goes back to contact Blade. Spencer informs her Blade isn't contactable. Michelle tries to stall Samantha, who says she'll wait. She sits next to Jamie, who says the doctor may help her. The commandant absolutely refuses to listen to the doctor and calls the police on him. As the doctor tries to persuade the commandant, Jean, a secretary dealing with D.I. Crossland, overhears the name of chameleon tours and tries to interrupt. The police arrive. The doctor fakes a bomb hoax with a rubber ball as he means of escape. Blade orders Michelle to deal with Samantha and close the kiosk. Samantha's told her brother arrived in Rome, but went AWOL. Ben arrives in the hangar and opens a packing case to find the real Polly sitting in a trance. He tries to call the commandant. The doctor is introduced to Samantha and investigates the rear of the kiosk. He sees Ben on the monitor, then sees Spencer attack Ben with the pen-shaped freezing device. He also uncovers a large batch of postcards from destinations around the world, as well as a selection of foreign stamps. Blade and Spencer prepare for the doctor's approach. Detective Inspector Crossland is informed by Jenkins about Brian Briggs, whilst Crossland also inquires about Detective Inspector Gascoigne. Jenkins explains that things have been hectic at the airport of late and fills Crossland in about the doctor and Jamie and their story of the dead body. Crossland says they must be found. Samantha flirts with Jamie. A different woman reopens the chameleon kiosk. A chameleon flight to Zurich is announced. Jamie worries about where Polly is. The doctor reaches the hangar. With no sign of Ben, he searches the office and pockets the pen-like device. New kiosk attendant hands stamped postcards to the Zurich passengers for them to write before they depart. Samantha sees the implications, realizing that her brother wouldn't have to head in Rome to send the postcard. She and Jamie go to find the doctor, but are stopped by Detective Inspector Crossland. The doctor opens a packing case to discover the trance-like body of Meadows. Suddenly, a pleading voice is heard over a loudspeaker, actually made by Spencer. The doctor is drawn into the office, where he is sealed inside. A freezing vapor seeps through grills in the walls. End of episode 2. Episode 3. Spencer watches from the hidden chamber. The doctor tries to block one grill. Spencer opens another. The doctor notices a closed circuit camera watching him and blocks that. Spencer comes out to find the doctor huddled on the ground. As he bends down to check on him, the doctor fires the freezing device at him and escapes. Jamie and Samantha have explained the situation to Crossland when the doctor finds them. The doctor identifies a picture of Gascoigne as the dead man. Crossland takes the doctor to the commandant despite his protestations that the commandant will not believe him. The doctor orders Jamie to keep an eye on the kiosk while he's gone. Blade finds Spencer and orders him to kill the doctor as punishment for letting him escape. Blade departs to pilot the Zurich flight. Samantha decides to investigate the hangar herself and goads Jamie into accompanying her, despite the fact he was told to stay with the kiosk. The doctor, with Crossland's encouragement, tells the commandant about the stupefied uh, uh, man in the packing case and suspects it as a worker from the airport. He presents the paralysis pen to the commandant and introduces the idea that they have been dealing with an alien force. The commandant is still very skeptical. Doctor explains his conviction that Gascoigne was murdered by a ray gun, a weapon unknown on Earth, and that Chameleon tours the front for the mass abduction of young men and women. In order to prove the alien side of the venture, the doctor demonstrates the pen-like freezing device with Meadows' reluctant help. Meadows runs off as the doctor fires the device at a china cup Meadows is holding, rendering it frozen solid. Samantha finds an envelope full of signed postcards in the chameleon office and goes to the commandant's office to show the doctor. The doctor is busying himself with a flight record of chameleon tours when Sam bursts scene. She shows that the envelope is addressed to Chameleon Tour's office in Germany and explains ramifications. Convinced by this strange turn of affairs, the commandant gives the doctor the freedom of the airport for 12 hours. The duplicate Meadows reports back to Spencer who chastises him from running out the observation tower before gaining further information, then orders him to attach a button-like device to the doctor, which will put paid to him once and for all. Meadows returns to air traffic control. Captain Blade's flight is returning, and the doctor questions another controller about the range of the radar. He discovers that once the planets get 130 miles out, they have no further record of them. The commandant questions whether the doctor is using his freedom of the airport wisely by staying in the observation tower. Duplicated Meadows dumps into the doctor as she leaves, planting the device. Crossland presents himself to the Chameleon Tour's kiosk, wants to see Blade. Spencer checks that this is okay, and Crossland is given permission to meet Blade aboard his next flight. When the doctor searches the Chameleon office, the grills are hidden, but he suspects there's a secret chamber. He and Jamie tear apart the room. Crossland confronts Blade on a busy plane ready to take off. Crossland's questioning gets too close to home for Blade, and he's asked to stay in the bulk of the plane while Blade cancels the flight. The plane starts to take off, and Crossland forces his way onto the flight deck. This is not a standard flight deck, not throttle controls of the usual displays. Blade and Anne Davidson clamp in him in a chair, and the flight takes off. The doctor and Jamie find the opening mechanism and discover the high-tech contents of the room, including a cabinet with an air conditioning unit for someone who's not used to the Earth's atmosphere. They see on the monitor the inside of the medical center and go in search for it. Spencer watches this from the kiosk and activates the device on the doctor's back, causing him to fall in pain, clutching his back. Jamie removes the device from the doctor's back and throws it on the floor. He then stomps on it with his shoe, completely destroying it. And passes out refreshments to the passengers on the plane and returns to the flight deck where she locks the door. Crossland is looking at the monitor showing all the passengers on the plane. Blade says to him, "You wanted to know the secret of Chameleon Tours? Well, Inspector, see for yourself." And he pulls a lever. Crossland then looks at the monitor and notices, much to his horror, that all the passengers' seats are now empty. End of episode 3. Episode 4. With the doctor out of action, Spencer emerges and threatens Jamie with his ray gun. Samantha knocks away the gun and fight ensues. However, Spencer has another freezing device and they are soon frozen. Laid out on the floor, they are powerless to evade a slowly arcing laser beam. Blade reports that he is an original for the director. He will deliver him and return to Gatwick. On the floor of Chameleon Tour's hangar, the trio are still paralyzed but awake. They notice the beam getting nearer and watch as it passes from debris, igniting it as it passes. Nurse Pinto transfers I&C Officer Jenkins into a chameleon body. With enormous effort, Samantha pulls a mirror from her handbag and hands it to Jamie. He reflects the laser light back onto itself, destroying the machine. The three recover and Samantha is dispatched to spy on the chameleon, the kiosk. The doctor and Jamie go to the medical center. Nurse Pinto is checking Jenkins when Jamie and the doctor enter. Jamie finds sicknesses as the doctor helps him into the center. The doctor tries to bluff Nurse Pinto, who will not allow them into the X-ray room. Spencer and Jenkins see via the kiosk monitor that their enemy has escaped death. Jenkins vows to deal with them, but Spencer prefers to leave them to come to them. The doctor returns to the control tower looking for Crossland. The commandant says he has not been seen for some time. The doctor worries as to his whereabouts, but his concerns are shrugged off by the commandant. Jean reveals has placed calls to chameleon tourist destinations and reports that all the airports she's contacted say the same thing. Chameleon picks up passengers, but none have arrived at any airport. The commandant thinks they've been taken to a private airfield, but the doctor is thinking out of the box and of the earth. Whilst the commandant rings the RAF to have the next chameleon flight trailed, the doctor states he suspects the medical center to be involved in some way. He asks Jean to call Nurse Pinto away from the medical center so he can have a proper look around. Jamie joins Samantha at the kiosk and discovers she has bought a ticket on a chameleon flight to Rome to discover what is going on. He tries to talk Sam out of going by offering to take her place, but she refuses. Jamie kisses Samantha suddenly, removing the ticket from her pocket while doing so. Back in the control tower, Jean feigns sickness, and Pinto, to her saccharin, is ordered by the commandant to come to air traffic control to help her. The doctor goes into the medical center after she leaves and investigates the X-ray room. He flicks one of the electrical switches, which reveals the real Nurse Pinto behind the screen, complete with a white armband. But he does not see this, as he picks the lock of a cupboard to reveal some armbands, which he steals. Jenkins peeks through the outer door and aims a ray gun at him. A passenger enters the medical center, forcing Jenkins to quickly hide the gun. The doctor leaves, carrying two armbands, one black, one white. As Nurse Pinto watches over her, she makes a miraculous recovery when the doctor returns. He shows Jean and the commandant the armbands. He hopes to ask the fake Meadows about the armbands, but he is off duty. As Anne passes out postcards for the Rome passengers, Samantha desperately looks for her ticket, only to hear from Anne that S. Briggs has already checked in. Spencer, watching all this on his monitor, intercedes and has Samantha sent behind the kiosk to see him. He pulls a ray gun on her. The plane leaves trailed by an RAF fighter and hands out refreshments to the passengers, but Jamie feels airsick and runs to the lavatories at the back of the plane. Blade discovers they're being followed. He gets the fighter's coordinates and fires a laser beam directly into the cockpit. Air traffic control sees the fighter to go off course. The commandant is horrified when it disappears from the screen. Suddenly they notice the chameleon flight appears to be standing still. The commandant believes it must be crashing too. In fact, the plane slowly transforms into something resembling a rocket ship. As Anne collects tiny objects from each seat into a tray, she's called back to the flight deck, causing her not to notice that Jamie's seat has nothing to collect. The commandant tells the doctor that when the radar signal appears stationary, it's going straight down. The doctor suggests it might be going straight up, but the commandant rejects this, saying that this would mean the plane would be in space by now. In outer space, the transformed plane docks with a fast orbiting satellite. End of episode 4. Episode 5. And Davidson and Blade disembark, questioning the wisdom of destroying the fighter, and is corrected by Blade, who reminds her of their director's teachings. The intelligence of humans is comparable only to animals from their planet. Jamie emerges from hiding in a galley but must wait until two faceless comedians arrive to remove luggage. Jamie watches Anne deliver the tray to a stockroom, then hides her there himself. In a file drawer, he discovers miniaturized humans. Anne, ray gun in hand, finds him, and Jamie is seized by two faceless comedians. Gene Rock reports there has been no sign of remains of the comedian flight. The RAF reports finding the wreckage of their plane. The pilot was electrocuted. Commandant wants to believe the doctor but needs proof. Providentially, Meadows returns to duty. The doctor confronts him with the armbands, saying that he believes staff have been systematically replaced. He asks him to roll up his sleeve, to which the commandant agrees. Meadows attempts to escape but is avoided when Gene rolls a chair in his way. He crashes to the floor and they forcibly reveal the black armband around his left arm. Meadows relents after being threatened through tampering with his armband. He explains the satellite in space. He says a catastrophe on their planet has robbed them of their identities. The armbands are part of a process to assume the identities of others. They have collected 50,000 young people on this trip. He denies knowing who has been replaced and begs them not to search for the originals, which are hidden somewhere at the airport. He explains that Nurse Pinto is in charge of the transfer process in the medical center. She's the only one who knows her. She's the only one who knows where her original is. And the doctor forces Meadows to go with him to the medical center under a police guard. Meadows says they'll never see those 50,000 people again. Nurse Pinto has Samantha bound and gagged in the X-ray room. Spencer tells her over a monitor that Samantha is to be an original. The doctor and his party arrive outside and the doctor confiscates Pinto's freezing pan. He discovers Samantha and releases her. Meadows shows him where the real Pinto is. Outside, Pinto produces a ray gun and kills a policeman. Entering the X-ray room, she's about to kill Meadows when he grabs the real Pinto's armband and she dissolves into an amoebic mass. The real Pinto begins to revive. The doctor notices some personal files, but Samantha interrupts to tell about Jamie stealing her ticket. Jamie is tied up in the satellite's stockroom when Crossland enters to release him. Crossland explains that the only reason why Jamie did not become miniaturized was through his refusal of food. He calmly asks him about the doctor and the situation on Earth. Jamie grows suspicious, and Crossland tells him the doctor is facing a superior mind, the director. Crossland reveals he is the director, having taken on his form. He explains there is to be only one more plane to Earth, and that is to pick up the originals before the satellite takes off. The plane leaves the satellite and begins its return journey to Gatwick. The doctor shows the commandant the 25 personnel files from the medical center. All of them have been taken over by chameleons. When the doctor hears that Chameleon Tour's last flight of the season is leaving on 1 hour, he begs that the 25 people not be arrested, as the commandant has planned. Instead, the doctor wants to pretend he is a chameleon by saying he was previously Meadows and get on that last flight with the real Nurse Pinto's help. The commandant will try to find where the originals are hidden to be used to bargain with the chameleons whilst they are gone. The doctor convinces Nurse Pinto just in time as Captain Blade enters the medical center. Blade is suspicious, but seems to accept the story. However, the doctor cannot get him to say where the originals are hidden. Blade informs them that the plane leaves in 15 minutes. Team reports to the commandant that Nurse Pinto and the doctor were on the plane. Air traffic control observes the plane's disappearance as the commandant coordinates Search efforts with Airport Police Chief Reynolds. Samantha and Jean have searched the kiosk and medical center for clues and reported to Commandant together. They have had no luck. The plane docks at the satellite. Blade instructs the passengers to report to the accommodation center for relocation of quarters. Owing to the success of their plan, living space is at a minimum. The director is fitting and testing the armament for a chameleon. Jamie, when Blade reports they have two imposters aboard. Blade wants to then destroy it. But the director questions Jamie about the doctor who explains with no Scots accent the truth about him. The director decides he wants the doctor alive, much to the distaste of Blade. And Blade finds the doctor and Nurse Pinto. As they are surrounded by faceless chameleons, he explains they won't need to worry about their living space anymore. End of episode 5. Episode 6. Blade, Spencer, and the chameleons surround Doctor and Nurse Pinto. Blade says they want the doctor's brain. The commandant and Reynolds interrogate Meadows, but he is no help to them and is removed. The commandant has the airport closed and orders the staff to begin searching the airport en masse. In the director's office, the doctor meets the duplicated Jamie. The director will personally decide which chameleon gets the doctor's identity. The doctor needles the director how he's perfectly safe since his original is on board. But what about the others? This arouses the curiosity of Blade and Spencer. On Earth, Meadows escapes from his guards. With the director away, Blade prepares to process the doctor, but the doctor continues his point. You'd better hurry up before you cease to assist. He threatens the chameleons, claiming the originals have been found. Blade will be the first to have his armband removed. Blade calls the doctor's bluff, contacting Gatwick to see if this is true. The commandant smartly plays along, but worries how much time they have. Samantha and Jean make a breakthrough. They discover a list of 25 car registration numbers in the office behind the chameleon kiosk. As the commandant continues to stall, he receives a call from the ladies. The chameleons ask where they found the originals. The commandant tries to say that the police have not informed him yet. Chameleons cut off contact and ignore further calls. On the satellite, the director returns. Blade realizes the doctor was bluffing. Chameleons prepare for the doctor's transformation, but the doctor manages to sabotage the processing machine. It explodes and new is sent for. Blade informs the doctor he's only stalling for time. The doctor is strapped to the new machine. Jean and Samantha are searching the car park when Meadows emerges from hiding and attacks Samantha. She and Jean subdue him as the police arrive. Jean spots Jenkins' prone body inside a car. The doctors are just about to be transferred when Gatwick tries to make contact again. Blade orders them to ignore it. With the satellite ignoring their calls, the commandant orders Jenkins' armband removed. The duplicate Jenkins manning the processing machine disintegrates. The doctor delightfully points out that soon they all have disintegrated, except for the director. Blade levels his gun at the doctor and orders contact with Gatwick re-established. The doctor orders Jamie to destroy the transmitter, but Spencer has him covered and contact is made. The commandant explains where the originals were found and demands to speak to the doctor, or Blade will be eliminated. The doctor has Nurse Pinto released before he lands. He comes to the microphone and informs the commandant that he is to begin negotiations. The doctor offers a guarantee of continued existence in their faceless state, so long as all humans are released. The director says the humans cannot be returned to normal, as the only equipment to reverse the process is on their home planet. However, Blade says this is not the case, explaining that the planes are the miniaturization chambers and the process works both ways. Spencer and Blade accept, but the director tries to escape, calling Blade a fool. Blade shoots him down with a ray gun. Spencer takes the doctor to find Ben, Polly, the real Jamie, and the detective Inspector Crossland. Blade asks the doctor about the future of his people, and the doctor tells him he has a few ideas which may improve it. The first plane which hold the doctor, Nurse Pinto and Jamie, among others, return to Gatwick. The doctor returns to the commandant, who is busy fending off disgruntled passengers. The doctor asks if he can have his police box back. Commandant agrees. Goodbyes are said to Commandant and Jean, and Jamie has an awkward goodbye with Samantha, which ends with a kiss. The four friends are reunited, but Ben and Polly decide to stay on Earth in London once they discover that it is the very day they left in the TARDIS, 20th of July 1966. The Doctor is a little envious as he never got back to his own world. The Doctor shakes Ben's hand and Polly hugs Jamie as the Doctor tells them to look after each other. Ben and Polly look behind them as at the Doctor one last time, grateful for their adventures, and walk away. Jamie is saddened to see Ben and Polly depart. Doctor then reveals to Jamie that they have a pressing problem. The TARDIS was outside the hangar, but now it has gone. They set off to look for it. And that, my friends and companions, is the end of this 6-episode story, The Faceless Ones. And this is, by the way, the setting to the next story. But that is in another live stream. I will name some cast members. Doctor Who is played by Patrick Troughton. Ben Jackson is played by Michael Grace. Polly is played by Anneke Wills. Jamie Prim is played by Fraser Hines. Samantha Briggs is played by Pauline Collins. The policeman is played by James Appleby. Commandant is played by Colin Gordon. Meadows is played by George Selway. Jean Rock is played by Wanda Fentham. Spencer is played by Victor Winding. Inspector Gascoigne is played by Peter Whittaker. Blade is played by Donald Pickering. Jenkins is played by Christopher Trenchell. Nurse Pinto is played by Madalena Nicol. Crossland is played by Bernard Kay. Anne Davidson is played by Gilly Fraser. Announcer is played by Bridget Paul. Heslington is played by Barry Wilshire. The RAF pilot is played by Michael Latkin. And the Sut Reynolds is played by Leonard Trolley. Some world building in this story. One of the test questions for Jenkins is his employment. Some world building in food and beverages. The chameleon hostess Anne Davidson offers barley sugar to the kidnapped passengers. Some world building about the doctor. The doctor is referred to as human by the chameleons. Second thing about the doctor is when Polly says that present England is their world, the doctor shows sorrow about never going back to his world. A third thing is that the doctor pretends that he is a physician, that Jamie has a tropical disease to be cured with somnolin. And a fourth thing about the doctor is that Doctor belittles passports as mumbo jumbo. Some world building with newspapers. A copy of the Daily Reflection is present to the commandant's office, and the doctor and Jamie use copies of the Mill Hill Times to hide themselves from the chameleons. Some places is that Chameleon tours are sailed in cities such as Zurich, Rome, Athens, Dubrovnik, and Freiburg, along with Spain and the Black Forest. And a second thing in place is that the chameleon Polly pretends to be a woman named Michelle Lupi from Zurich. A real world references is that RAF is involved in the conflict with the chameleons and Ben Jamie and the Doctor hide in a photo booth. Some world building in technology. The chameleons show their achievements of some kind of teleportation technology while moving their hostages from the planet to their satellites. And the second thing, technology, is that the chameleons are able to miniaturize living beings. About time, the adventure takes place on the 20th of July 1966, the same date when Ben and Polly left the present day Earth for the first time. That is with the first Doctor, William Hartnell. Some things in vehicles, the chameleons use command planes as a means of abduction, and Jamie calls them beasties. And the second thing in vehicles is that the chameleons have an artificial satellite orbiting beyond Earth atmosphere. And the last thing world building with is a bit that is indicated with weapons is that the chameleons use ray guns able to electrocute their victims. And the second thing is that the chameleons use a paralyzing beam and a laser beam to freeze and threaten to kill the Doctor and Samantha. Some story notes. This was the final performance for Michael Craze as Ben Jackson before his death on 7th of December 1998. His final line in the role was, "We might see you sometime. Take care." The conclusion of this story leads straight into the evil of the Daleks. So, yeah. Another note is that only episodes 1 and 3 of the six-part story exist as 60mm black and white film telerecordings in the BBC archives. Um, Another things and important story note is that a new arrangement of the team produced by Delia Derbyshire with assist from Dick Mills to much new title sequence makes its debut in episode 2. The new title sequence featuring Patrick Troughton's face was first used in the previous story, but with the original theme tune used, as well as on the episode 1 of this story due to production mistake. This new arrangement remained in use with some variations until the Horns of Nymon in 1979-1980, and it's with the fourth Doctor Tom Baker. After which is what was replaced by new arrangement by Peter Howell. It also have been used in a then uncompleted Shada, unbroadcasted story Shada, but you can find it on animation also. Um, Ben Jackson probably rightly part in this story after being appeared only in episodes 1, 2, and 6. Another thing is that about Samantha Briggs, Pauline Collins, was originally intended to be a companion, but despite begging from Ines Lloyd and Fraser Hines, Pauline Collins turned down the offer of a regular role with the series. She would later appear as Queen Victoria in TV story Tooth and Claw, roughly 40 years later. And that's with the 10th Doctor David Tennant and his companion Rose Tyler. Another thing is, and it is also important, is that Patrick Troughton and Fraser Hines were both unhappy at Michael Crichton and Annika Will's departure as they all become good friends. Troughton credited them with helping him find his teeth as the doctor. Um, um, okay, some things in continuity. Four things. First, Ben is glad to have not met the Cybermen again. And there's a reference to TV story The Tenth Planet and the Moon Base. Second thing is that Sixth Doctor encounters the chameleons on Krenos in prose face value. Third thing is that the Doctor again pretends to be a medical doctor. TV story The Highlanders and et al. And fourth and last thing is that in his investigation of reports of a series of agent provocateurs known as the Doctor, who had been involved in numerous unusual incidents, the journalist James Stevens interviewed Samantha Briggs about the Gatwick incident. She described the Doctor as a short man with a mournful face and disheveled clothing. She also noted that he had a blurred English accent which defied description and seemed to be extremely knowledgeable on a wide variety of subjects. Stevens dubbed him the Gatwick Doctor due to his involvement in the investigation of holiday fraud. He found it bizarre that it occurred on the same day as the Sea Day fiasco, namely 20th of July 1966, when Sir Charles Summer claimed to have been in the company of an elderly white-haired man, who also called himself the Doctor, in central London. Stevens also found evidence that the Gatwick Doctor was later heavily involved in the London event, an infamous nerve gas scare on the London Underground, during which the population of central London was evacuated. That's in prose Who Killed Kennedy. And that's my friends and companions, is all I have to say about this story. Some commercial, and then we'll. So, Sci-Fi and Fancy Events middle channel for fun chats about the beloved books, movies, series, and franchises. We'll also talk about food and drinks, music and sport, and a special place on this channel for Doctor Who. Random, thus we discuss everything that involves entertainment, including movies and series, books, and music. Random, because we will be broadcast on Mondays times, actually many different times. You need to subscribe to this channel to know what time the broadcast is. Random, also because we have no guests or different guests. It depends on Jomi in live stream panel. If you want to join me in live stream, feel to contact me via Discord. You can send me there a message, contact me there, or you can contact me via YouTube. You can put a comment on one of the videos, and we look as possible. And also, it's possible to invite me for a channel. I'm available to contribute to your channel, so feel free to invite me for a panel to talk about the things we are passionate for, enthusiastic about, and so forth. The Discord server is called Random Entertainment Channel Tag Doctor Who on this board. Invite me very quick because I bump the server regularly. So cheers, mate, and have lots of fun. This is your host, Enigmatic Joker. So I'm looking forward to meet you. See you next time. Have a nice day. Bye bye.